Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the opening that has brought me to the huge rating of 2300 EVO, so 2300. But first, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this. Let's not waste any time and let's get started. So the opening starts with E4. This is the part for white. I'm gonna make a part for black of the opening, but now the opponent plays E5. I develop the knight, they develop their knight, and I start with the Scotch game. I bet you have seen this before. They take with a pawn, but now you develop your bishop. Usually you would take back, but no. You enter the Scotch gambit, a very aggressive approach. Why? Well, let me show you a couple of lines. They can develop the bishop. This is called the Haxo gambit because now you're simply going to gambit another pawn. After they take, you're going to sacrifice your bishop. A crucial move because after they take, you're simply going to give a check with the queen and forking the king and the bishop at the same time. After they go back, you may think, okay, let's just take the bishop back, that's gonna be fine. But no, you're gonna give another check. Why? Because now they either move to the side, to which you're gonna take with check, or what they're gonna do is they're going to push, but then you take with check and have opened this diagonal. So now, after they're gonna be greedy and take another pawn, you're going to have the bishop on the diagonal and they're going to be in trouble. They can defend this rook by developing the knight, but now you're simply going to attack the knight once again, and they have to defend it with the rook. Now you're simply going to castle. There is no point in attacking this knight even further. That is not going to help us that much. So the opponent has to compensate and sort of try to get the pieces out. But we're not going to give them any time. We're going to bring the rook over. We're going to push e5 really soon. And we're going to open things up. The position is getting very, very dangerous for them. And it is quite difficult for them to defend anything, okay? So if it gets to this position, you're already winning. Obviously, let's see what happens if they do not take the sacrifice. This is also a very important step because most opponents are scared, even though taking the sacrifice is one of the best moves for them. They're gonna go to the side and you're simply going to take this pawn over here, leaving the bishop hanging, because if they take afterwards, you still got the same thing, nothing changes. So now usually what you're gonna see is you're going to see something like a bishop sacrifice. To here you're just going to be able to take, and after they take back, you're just gonna bring the rook over and you have opened this file over here, and they're even more prone to the attack. Actually, I've had a game yesterday that went like this, and obviously I won it because it's a winning position. So now we've covered what to do after they develop the bishop and they take the pawn. Let me cover real quick what happens if they don't develop the pawn but develop the knight instead. You're going to push. They're going to have to go to the side. Now you're going to capture over here. You can also pick to go here first. That also works. To which they're gonna have to go back to take this pawn over here, but it doesn't work as good. Maybe you can castle as well. This is another variation, but you do not really want to open the pathway to this. So what I really recommend you is just take over here, protecting this and attacking the bishop. If they give a check, you can block with the bishop, forcing a trade. And now over here you have a completely fine position. They can castle. You can kick the knight out. You see it's on the rim. You're just going to castle, and from here you have a big center, active pieces, and you can't really complain about your position. Okay, let's have a look at another variation. We are not going to slow down. And what we're gonna do here is let's take a look at another variation, which is bishop to e7. Now this is one of the less common moves, but I'm going to show it to you first simply because it has such an interesting line. But nonetheless, this is the 5th most played move, and if you play this opening, you're going to encounter this at some point. Why? Because the opponent is trying to keep a little bit safe over here, but little they know they're actually not safe at all. So you're going to give another pawn up again, and after they take, you're not going to sacrifice the bishop, because if you do, that is not going to benefit you in any way with the queen check, since the bishop is not there anymore. So instead, after they take, you're going to threaten checkmate right away. Well, here I've had opponents that try to escape like this, but there is no escape that way. And actually there's only one move that saves the position. It is defending the pawn with a knight, which a lot of opponents aren't even going to see, so they might as well just resign the game right away. But if they do see that, you're going to capture the knight. And it looks like you're winning, but the opponent can survive on the verge. Again, obviously, not every opponent is going to see this move unless they know the theory or they find it. They have to protect the square again, and the only way to do it is by castling. So they defended with the rook, and now what you need to do, you cannot simply go here, because then all of a sudden your opponent is running all over you, so you do not want to do that. Instead, what you want to do, and you also don't want to bring the bishop back because of the same thing. You get attacked, you go back, and then the opponent pushes, and then all of a sudden you're completely losing. You do not want that at all. Instead, you're going to sacrifice the bishop, because why? After they take, you're going to be able to take back over here and you're winning. So this is a brilliant bishop sacrifice, and after they take, you're simply going to develop the knight. You see, the opponent can't even stay that safe anymore, so the opponent is already in big trouble. You have a lot of active pieces, the opponent has a lot on the home rank. You're going to be able to castle, the opponent has an open king, and you can obviously see that this is an advantageous position. If we ask Stockfish, it's giving this a +1, which is obviously we are going to take, since this advantage is already quite huge. The opponent is going to continue attacking you a little bit, you're just going to slide back. They're going to try to develop the bishop, just castle at some point. You're just going to witness some opponent developing. You can do a little bit of trouble in the center, so after something like this, you're going to be able to trade a few pieces, though I don't recommend trading everything. You have to be a little bit careful, but you're going to have a few nice ideas here. And since this position is already a +1, you should take this advantage and convert it into a win. Now let's see what else they can do, okay? They can develop the knight. This is in fact one of the best moves, but it still has a lot of traps in them. This is why this opening is so powerful, especially until higher elos. So you're either going to push, which is an interesting variation, because pushing, especially in lower elos, can lead your opponent to go here attacking the pawn once again, to which you're just going to castle. And it looks like they've won a pawn because they're attacking it twice and you're only defending it once. So take, take, take. They're attacking the bishop, it looks like they're winning, but no, you got rook to e1, pinning the knight to the king, and you're winning the material back. The best move for them is queen to e7, to which you're simply going to push, and this is actually the best line for them, to sacrifice the queen for the bishop, but even this line is completely winning, as you're already attacking quite a few things, and the opponent is going to have to compensate like this. So you do not want, so the opponent will not do that, unless they really know the theory, but if they do, they wouldn't enter this variation either way. So instead, what you can see from such opponents is they're going to try to defend it, but the piece is still pinned, so you're just going to attack it with a pawn. And now, after the opponent tries to defend it once again, they're going to try to compensate for this, and you're just going to give them a little bit of trouble. You see this position, if you check with Stockfish, this position gives a +2.4, because the opponent's king is wide in the center. Your pieces are a little bit more developed than your opponent's, and you also have a way bigger material advantage, since you have a knight for 3 pawns in this position. So this is actually one of the best positions that you can get. And if you push, but the opponent knows the theory, what they're going to do is they're going to push as well, attacking your bishop at the same time. And very important here, do not take this pawn, this pony, because after they take with the pawn, they have a big center, and even though you take over here, they're going to take back with the bishop, and you're completely losing because they have a really strong center. They have a knight supporting the center, a bishop supporting the center. They can just castle. They have no weakness in this position whatsoever. So this is going to be a huge disadvantage for you. What you should do instead, you're simply going to go here, pinning the knight to the king, and the knight still remains under attack, so it has to slide in here. What you're going to do is you're simply going to capture, putting even more pressure on this knight over here. So they're going to have to defend with the bishop. And now you're simply going to take. After they take back with the pawn, which is what they usually do, if they take with the bishop, a short side note, sorry, you're just going to take with the knight here, and then you're going to try to undermine this knight as well. But if they take with the pawn, which is usually more common, you're just going to castle. The opponent develops, you're going to push over here. If they ever take here, take with the queen. They're going to go back because their knight is under attack. You're going to unpin yourself. And now they have quite a few options. They can castle, they can bring the knight, putting more pressure. If they do this, you're going to push. If they castle, you're going to attack the knight once again, and after they go in, you're going to develop the knight and trying to undermine this position as well. If they take, you're going to take back. If they take, you're going to take back. And this position is actually quite good for you. They have doubled the pawns. The only real things that they have going for them is this semi-open file, to which you're simply going to go here. They also might have some activity on this side of the board, so you're going to often see moves like this, but in the bigger picture, they're not really that big of a threat. Here, you do not play this move because that's actually a tactical disadvantage, but over the course of a few moves, what you're going to do is you're looking to kick the bishop out, you're looking to trade that, and you also look to trade the queen over here, and from there you're going to have quite a winning endgame, because that's going to benefit you most of the time. So let's have a look at another move that the opponent can play. It is this bishop to b4 move that gives a check, and what you need to do now is you need to block. After they take, you're going to castle, because if you don't, you do some stupid shit, they're simply going to give a check and they're going to win the rook in the corner, promoting to a new queen, and the game is over, you can resign. So very important, you block, they take, you castle. And you're going to think, well, why am I giving up so much material, right? But now you can see you have these strong bishops that are the same like in the Danish gambit, and you're going to have enough compensation for it. They can develop the knight. What you're going to do is you're going to kick out the bishop first, then you can develop your knight, and if they ever go for something like this, obviously the same move, rook to e1, is going to be completely fine. The opponent is going to try to compensate, but you still have these really strong bishops. You have a lot more pieces developed, and yes, black has some compensation here, but it is going to be quite difficult for your opponent to stabilize the position, and you have to learn the variations in which this is actually completely fine, because in this specific variation, if they push this, you're going to be able to take, and if they take over here, you're going to take, and now in comparison to the other variation, this is way better and you can do it. So you still have to study a little bit of the opening. I'm trying to make as short of a video as possible. So let's see what happens if they don't take. They may develop over here simply, but to which you're just going to take. And now they have quite a few moves, to which I'm going to have to make a longer video or a course in. But let's cover just a few variations over here. So now you can develop the bishop, try to give them a little bit of trouble in castling, and after they're going to try to push something like this, you're just going to undermine the position, be as annoying as possible, and from here you're going to have a good game. So always try to develop your pieces, try to positionally undertake your opponent, but don't be too aggressive with these pawn pushes. You have to be picky and to know when you need to do them, because otherwise if you simply give this pawn up without any compensation, after you have given other pawns as well, you can see you're always gambiting something in the Scotch gambit, you're going to be in trouble very quickly. Let's have a look at another variation that the opponent can play. So you're going to develop the bishop again, and the opponent is simply going to play this d6 move. Now you're simply going to take. Luckily for the opponent here, they're not really having any traps or any problems, but your opponent is usually going to struggle with the fact that you are going to castle queenside, while they castle kingside usually, and then you're going to start a pawn storm, which many games, even some of my games I can see here in my database which I'm checking, I have played a game where my opponent plays here, I played this, and I won the game after bringing all the pieces in, trading a little bit, and just to show you a little quick game that I've played, this pawn storm on the king side has been very, very powerful. Even though they tried to trade, they had to give something up, and after I won some material, the opponent was not able to hold on much longer, and here the opponent resigned. So this is what I'm saying. Even this variation is not really bad for you, though the opponent can compensate better. This pawn storm, if you know how to do it well, you can either do it with f3, g4, h4, or you can do it with f4, but always keep these pawns protected and make sure that you're not in trouble first. So always care for your pieces first. Do not do any stupid moves like this, and just keep it safe, keep it simple, and you're going to have quite a good experience in this variation as well. As long as you castle queenside, which I recommend you as well. If they ever try to trade here, well, you can look to cause as much problems as you can. Usually you're not trying to build the center back up, so you're not going to take. And after the opponent does something like this, you can either choose to take or castle alongside, which is usually quite good for you. And even in this position, let me turn on Stockfish. Yeah, you have a +1 advantage, which is very good. Alright, let's have a look at one last variation before I sum up the video, because this is also a variation that you see very often, and then we will have covered the 5 most common moves in the shortest time. So we are at 15 minutes now. this is actually quite good for a video course because I have condensed so much information. And after they play h6, again, the same with d6, you're just going to take. The only difference here is where you develop your bishop, so now you obviously cannot create the same problems again, but you're simply going to try to develop the bishop over here, castle alongside, and start a pawn storm. And let me check if I actually have a game like this. Yeah, so in this specific scenario, you're not gonna believe me unless I show you. Here you can see a bunch of games from me that I have won every single game, but this being on the Leeches account where I'm a little bit lower rated than on chess.com, so obviously I'm gonna have a better win rate. But from this position I have won every single game that I've played, which is about 4 games that were all in blitz. And one game went like this where I castled short side. One game went like this where I castled short side and started an attack. So let's have a look at a game real quick so you can get the feeling for what I did. So I maneuvered the pieces, I traded a little bit in the center, and then after a few tactical things I won some material. I put my opponent in trouble, and over here my opponent resigned after either being low on time, I don't exactly know here, either being low on time or me having such a good position that they decided to resign. So you can see you can always give your opponent a little bit of trouble. And just to show you real quick, let me see if I can actually show you another game as well. Queen to e7 is Queen to e7 I have played against, so castles, d6, I developed the knight, I developed the bishop, bring the bishop back. And is this the same game? Wait, I thought I showed a variation with d6, so apparently I showed this move before. So here, let's say the opponent developed a knight. Here what I played is e5, give a little bit of trouble in the center, the opponent pushed. I give a check, and they just blundered this, which is quite stupid. But yeah, 1800 rated players do stupid moves as well, apparently. Let's have a look at one of this, like at this game. This is a little bit higher rated, almost 1900. Oh, it's actually this one. Okay, so yeah, 1800 opponents. They make mistakes as well. Don't take it too harsh on them. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is the opening summed up. You now have seen most of the variations, the 5th most common variations I have showed you, and you are going to have a real good game. I have an 88% win rate on this h6 move. I have a 55% win rate on this move. I have a 100% win rate on f5. I have a 57% win rate on bishop c5. I have a 51% win rate on knight f6. And you can see this opening has helped me. I have a 50% win rate on this, which is obviously very good. And you're going to see that this opening is quite powerful. Try it out for yourself, especially in lower elos where your opponent does not know what they can do, what to do against a specific opening. You're going to have a lot of resources that you can attack your opponent with, especially if you are the more attacking player. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you liked the video, and see you next time in the next opening, game analysis, or whatever I show you in order to improve at the game. See you next time.